Well, the draw is set, and it's 5 a.m. Friday morning. This is my preview for the finals of the Futurity here in Oklahoma City to start tomorrow evening. To get started, the first thing I want to bring up is, if you watch my prediction video, you know I picked 30 horses. There ended up being 35 with ties in the finals. Of the 30 horses I predicted, exactly 17 of the rider horse combinations that I predicted made it to the finals, a little over 56%. I'm pretty happy with that. I also had 6 of my honorable mentions make it, so that's 23 of the horses I previewed are in the finals. A few riders made it on different horses. I believe there was 5 of those, and then 7 people that I did not mention. So I'm going to go through horse by horse in a previewed order of where I think it's going to happen. Anybody that's in the finals, if you're watching this, do not take this as offensive if you're lower than than you think you should be. I'm just going off my gut, and I'm planning on being completely wrong. So let's have some fun and go through all these horses, and we will see how the rest of this is going to look. And we're going to start off with Tanner Boys on Dreamin' of a Good Time. This is a Magnum Chick Dream out of a Little Rough Peppy mare, and I actually did not even have this one on my radar coming in. I'm pleasantly surprised to see Tanner in the finals. I heard a big cheer go up when the qualifications were announced. I believe one of them was coming from him. I didn't get to watch this horse much, but if he's in, he earned it. Let's see what happens. But I tend to go with experience in the Futurity finals, and Tanner's a little lower on that than some of the rest of this group. So I'm hoping he does really well. This is where I kind of think it's going to end up. Maybe not dead last, but definitely in the lower half of what happens, especially with how things are going to work, with how deep this field of horses is. My prediction for 34th is Joao Felipe Lasarda and Spark Done It Again. Another Gunner Done It Again. This one out of Sassy and Shiny, owned by Tremblay. Joao, I expected to be strong on his other horse that had some trouble in the first round and ended up actually zeroing, because I thought that horse had a little more top-end talent. And maybe it still does. This one's in the finals. Joao's a heck of a showman, but I've also seen him be really nervous when he comes to the States. That being said, if he turns it on, he could be right there with the boys. I don't know if this one has the top end to hang with those horses that everybody else is talking about, the Andy Mo's, the Magnum that Casey's showing, or the 2 good ones of Andrea's, or even all 3 of Dwayne's. That being said, this is a really nice horse. Obviously, it's in the finals of the Futurity, and Joao might pull something out, just like he did down in Brazil when he marked that 28.5 on his other horse back in August. But we'll see where it goes. As usual, I'm not cheering against anybody. I hope Joao goes out there and smokes it. This is just where I see him finishing up. So, one of the people I'm most remiss of missing talking about is my friend Trevor Dare, who had to come give me a hard time after I didn't involve him in the preview. Being said, I didn't think he had the horsepower this year. He came up and told me afterwards, he's like, no, you didn't see enough from where you are, and that's fine. That also being said, I should know better than to ever count Trevor out. Even on half a horse, he's a great showman. I don't think he's got enough horse to hang at the top level of this Futurity finals. Go prove me wrong, bud. I know you're that good of a showman. Go prove me wrong. But you got a heck of a mountain to climb, because there's a lot of good horses above you in this deal. So Trevor will pretty and maximize what he has. His ceiling is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10, I think, but he's more likely going to end up in the low 20s, is my guess. Next up is Cole Price on Let's Tear It Up, who is a gunner trash out of Wisdom for Checks, owned by Von Zimmerman. I am surprised this one even made the finals. Honestly, after watching it, I watched it. It was the very last horse to go to the semifinals. I watched it. Not that it was bad. It just, with the quality of what we saw, I was surprised this one was able to slip in. That being said, Cole is one of the most dangerous riders in the country to give a bullet in the chamber. He's got one. It's not the horse I thought was the most talented of his string. It's a pretty good horse. Don't get me wrong. It's a very good horse. Cole is going to have to more than maximize. He's going to have to be flawless and get the best maneuver this horse has ever done in every maneuver if he wants to win this thing. I don't see it happening. Once again, Cole, prove me wrong. I really hope you do. I hope you jump in there and you're in the mix the whole time. I hope everybody is. But that's me being nice to everybody too. I'm predicting you lower. Go be good. Next person we're going to talk about is Marie O'Neill riding HF Call Me Rhonda. This horse I actually really, really liked in the first round. I forgot to talk about Marie. I'm going to be honest. I overlooked her a lot in her career, and I shouldn't when I talk about these kind of things. I've known her since she worked for, I met her, I should say, when she worked for Tiago Boucher and extra quarter horses back in the day, because she was a co-worker of Trevor's, and so I met her once or twice through that. Marie stepped up her game when she went to work for Craig. She stepped it up again going out on her own. She is a better showman now than she's ever been in her life. She could step up and surprise a lot of people. A lot of people are sleeping on this. That being said, horsepower is key, and that group from about 2 to 18 is probably the deepest group of horses you'll ever see. Maybe 2 through 25. And I've got her finishing in the 30 range right now. Go prove me wrong, Marie. I know you're capable of better than that. I just have to make my picks, and I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, and I'm sorry if it's yours, but go be better than what I'm saying, because you can. You have the ability. And I really think this is going to be a group that is so tough that you could see that you could see a horse that I'm predicting to be 30th, and they might very well mark a 221 or a 220, or have a run of that quality and be, an 18 or 19 because the judging tight. It doesn't matter. You're going to see good runs be at the lower end of this deal. There's going to be 1 or 2 that fall out with mistakes, and you're going to have really, really great runs be right in this range of that 30 to 25 group. Next person, I am going to butcher this name, and I apologize ahead of time. I do not pronounce Italian names well. This is Guglielmo Fontana, Cedi Gunnas Cexolina. No idea who this is. I never met the guy. No idea. I personally had never heard of him until this, and I'm sure that's my fault for not paying attention to Europe enough. That being said, I watched his second run, his semifinal run. This is a really nice horse, really well trained. This guy could mix it up completely. The horse I'm referring to, this thing could mix it up completely. The horse is really, really cool. And the person seemed like they were so more mature than I would have expected for somebody that I don't know that well. Usually, when it's somebody new to me, they usually come in, they're a little nervous, they're a little whatever, and they make mistakes of not a novice, but of somebody with nerves. Didn't see it here, and that is a possibility of why it's going to step up. And whether they were nervous or not, didn't look from the outside watching in the warm-up pen. So let's see what we got there, because this one, I'm predicting it low. I think I have it at 28, but it's going to be better than what 28th place sounds like. We're going to skip a few and pick up Adam Hendrickson, who I have predicted as 25th place. Swinging for the fences. Adam's been solid on this one, and it looks good. My prediction for Adam is he's going to go have a really good run. He's going to leave about a point on the table somewhere, whether it's an overspin or something like that. I don't know why. This is gut feeling. So, Adam, I'm trying to prove me wrong. Be good. Be awesome. That being said, it's just one of those things. Adam, I've watched him show and be great. I've watched him show and make little mistakes that cost him being better than great. And I could see that being the case today because he's going to try so hard, because Adam is one of those with an effort level that's just go, go, go. And that might bite him in the butt. And if it doesn't, it's going to work great, and he's going to be up there around the top 10. That's where we're at tonight, or that's where I'm at thinking about what's going to happen. And as I'm saying for a lot of these people down here in the bottom third of what I'm predicting, I hope he proves me wrong. I like Adam. He's always been very, very nice guy to me. I think he's a heck of a horse trainer, and this could work really big, or he could leave a point and a half on the table, point on the table per judge, and everybody's going to forget about it by the end of the night. And with the quality horses, you don't have room to make mistakes. So you've got to be as clean can be while maximizing what you got. '24th place, and I'm getting to $1 million rider. Franco Bertolani and Zephyr is my pick for 24th place. This horse was second at Denver back in the summer. It's the one I picked him to make the finals on. I think that Franco has a better horse than people are giving him credit for here. And I feel like I'm one of the people, like everybody else, like a lot of people, that are counting Franco out. I shouldn't. That's when he's at his best, is when you count him out and he can go make a run a little bit under the radar. He likes the pressure. Franco's got this horse really good. It turns and it stops. And in any other year, this horse would be a top 10 horse. It just happens to be this year, and it's a year that is as deep and as well trained and as not manufactured, as mastered of what a 3-year-old can be as any other year. I got Franco in 24th, and he better be perfect if he wants to be higher than that. In 23rd, I've got Matt Mills and Wallaby a Big Star. This Gonna Be a Big Star is a really dynamic horse. It won the level 2 in Tulsa with Garrett Thurner. It marked at 24 at Southwest with Matt. This horse could be the boom or bust of the group. And if it booms, it's going to boom huge. Matt could very well go mark a 25 or 26 on this thing and be right there in the mix with everybody. I'm not counting on it. That being said, 2 good runs, made the finals. Didn't look like he overexerted the horse to get there. Let's see. If he's got something left, he could be way higher than I'm predicting him. I'm predicting, and gut feeling says that somebody's going to have some troubles and have that great run but still have a penalty or something and drop him down. I don't know why, but I think it's Matt. That being said, if there's somebody who can be dynamic, ride as pretty as they can, and maximize a horse that looks like it's a little feely, Matt might be your guy. So this one, like I said, he's boom or bust. If he booms, he's in the conversation to be in the top 5, maybe even first or second. If his bust is still going to be really good, like I'm predicting him at the low end of his talent for both the horse and rider, but that's where I'm at with what my thought process is going forward with this horse. We're going to skip another one and go to Casey O'Rourke and Slick Tricks, who I had predicted to be 21st. I'm partial to Tricked Out Spooks. If anybody knows me, I've had 2 really good ones, and I had a third one that I liked a lot. This horse looks like it could possibly be up there as the best Tricked Out we've seen so far. The other one I've ever seen close is probably Andrea's as a 3-year-old, and it still was a nice horse, but it never matched what it did as a 3-year-old and how it looked. Casey's is everything it wants to be in the turn. If she turns this thing right, it can hang with all but about 2 of the horses in this pen. It's a big stopper. Casey shows the hell out of one in the circles. I'm betting she might be a little upset with me that I only have her in 21st. I want to put her higher, I do, but when I was doing my predictions, or when I was going through this on my spreadsheet and looking at who's going to be where and kind of guessing number range and stuff, this is where she ends up mathematically. I still have her. I still bet she's going to mark 20 and a half, 21, somewhere in that range, and it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. I'm hoping I'm wrong. In 20th place, I'm going to predict Trent Harvey on Trash You Quick. The Gonna Trash You Out of Nestle Quick Chick. It's the full sibling to the one Trent showed last year. Apparently he gets along with that pair. Let's do it some more. He's probably got another one lined up, chambered and loaded for next year. Trent is proving to be an excellent horseman out on his own. Obviously, he comes from good stock. The horse comes from good stock. I wouldn't be surprised to see Trent go mark a 24. I got him marking about a 21. and going to end up about 20th place just because that's how deep this Futurity is. I can't talk much about Trent. I don't know him as a person. I know from watching him, he's very invested, he's very committed, and he's very good. This horse is everything the last one was, and it's the Futurity. Mistakes happen in front of him. He plays as good as he can. This is going to be a tough pair to get around, but I think there's enough quality later on to get around it. In 19th, I have another Italian name I'm going to butcher, and this is Pierluigi Cioldo on God a Wizard Spook. I knew Pierluigi-ish, like secondhand, through some friends of mine who work for Martin. I'd watched him show a little bit, not a ton out on the West Coast. They came to Burbank a month ago, and he showed a Derby horse and marked 75s from draw 1, and never was threatened by the rest of us the whole time. It was a pretty good run, and I watched him show this 3-year-old here, and it's been the same kind of deal. He's got ice water in his veins when he shows, and hopefully he can keep that in his, I believe this is his first Futurity finals. I hope he can keep that just calm, cool, collected thing that he does when he goes and shows. And whether he is on the inside or not, it looks that way from the outside. Guys, looks like he's a born trained showman. This thing's a Spook's Got a Whiz out of, I believe, a Wizard Jack mare, and it's got all the talent in the world. I'm just going with experience to be higher than this, and that's why I have Pierluigi where I do. Speaking of experience, what might very well be one of the most exciting runs come finals night, if the crowd's paying attention, is Martin Mielstetter and Spook's Ghost Rider. Martin will tune it up when it's time, and I expect him to do the same right here. This is going to be really, really, really good. I hope this horse has enough top end to hang with the boys at the top. Martin's $1 million rider for a reason. He kind of did it the hard way. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's gotten chunks at the Futurity and chunks at the big events, and I believe he won the NRBC, but he's done it chipping away at it. And I really like Martin and Kim. They're great people. They would deserve to be a lot higher than this on just who they are as people. I'd love to see Martin go be second again. I don't know if he's got the horse for it. And it's not that this horse isn't good enough to be second, it's that the field around him, I'm saying this constantly, this is the deepest Futurity field I've ever seen. It was the best semifinals I've ever seen. When it takes a 440 to make it back, it's exceptional. And there's a group in here that's above that. And I think that this horse's max is probably going to be about a 21.5, maybe a 22-ish. I think it's not going to be enough. Once again, people make mistakes. Martin's clean. Martin is exciting to watch show. That's where we're at. Let's see if he can step up that little bit more than I'm giving him credit for. Because I'd like to see it, but I'm not sure if it can out of this one. So this is one of the ones going against all of my previous stated things about putting experience over talent. And I'm going with Rodrigo Nieves on Spook's Little Whiz for 17th place. I count this horse out constantly. At the Southwest, I was like, oh, it's not going to be great. And it was a 224.5. In the first go, oh, it can't be that great again. And it was a 223.5. In the second go, oh, it's not going to be that great again. And it made the finals. Rodrigo's made the finals in everything. He's level 2 and up. He's probably going to win one of the lower level Futurities, he or Casey or Adam. That being said, I'm finishing here. Same thing. It's the big show. It's the big night. It's the heart pounding. It's the crowd roaring. It's going to be full. It's going to be packed. Is he going to keep his stuff together and allow that horse to focus on him? That is the key here. If he does, he's proven he can go be big. I'm counting on his experience to hurt him a little bit, his lack of experience to drop him back just a smidge. That being said, I think the horse is talented enough that it will step up beyond what some of the other people who I think will have the same issue will do. And I think Rodrigo's going to end up right around here, mid-pack. He could be higher, could be lower, but I think he's going to end up around mid-pack. And now for the preview of my first rider with 2 in it. We're going to talk about Jordan Larson and his 2 horses. In 22nd place, I have H.A. Tune of a Mobster. HF Mobster, good horse. I think Jordan's maximized what it's capable of so far. I don't think it is as big of a threat as his other horse. It could surprise me because Jordan's one of those, he'll pull a run out from nowhere and make you shocked. And that horse stops big enough, it could be in the mix. Jordan's one that qualified on a horse I didn't expect. I actually expected the mare to qualify, the Betty Davis size mare. She didn't. These two did. The other one is Little Walla Dunnett, who is directly by Hollywood Dunnett on Frozen Seaman and out of, I believe, a Walla Walla Wiz mare. I have him predicted for 16th on that one. So 16th to 22nd for Jordan. He's probably not going to be happy that I say that. I just don't think this one has the high ceiling that it's going to need to finish the Futurity. It's got a really consistent ability to it. Jordan's done a great job. They're broke. They're trained. They are talented. I don't know if they're that special talent it's going to take to win this thing. And watch, this is going to be the year. It's going to be like Andrea's year where Spooky Wiz came out of nowhere, his third stringer, and came and won it. And, Jordan could bring one that nobody was paying attention to and say, hey, I'm here. I'm still back. I'm back in the finals after missing it last year. And I can smoke you. So he's a great showman. And I wouldn't put it against him. I wouldn't put it past him to put either one of these two in the winner's circle. But I don't see it happening. Once again, as I've said many times in this deal, hope I'm wrong. Up next, we'll look at Brian Bell and Shoot Me Down in 14th place. Brian got his one that always comes back. I'm actually surprised he didn't get two in, but that's the way things fall sometimes. I didn't get to watch this one much, so I am not the expert on this horse. This is one that was not on my radar. I had him qualifying on his vintage Wimpy horse, and this was not one that was on my radar. I will openly admit that. Brian might run the fastest of anybody that night, and if it works, it'll be awesome. But there's some greatness ahead of him on this list, and I feel bad shortchanging Brian, but I'm not going to talk about something that I have not paid attention to at all. I can talk about how great of a showman Brian Bell is, but we all know that. We all know how hard he runs. We all know how hard he works. We all know that he is absolutely fearless and will lay it on the line. So it's going to get loud in there when he goes. I promise you that. Next is 12th place, and this is Abby Lingle on Bringing the Heat, the Inferno 66 mare she owns. Abby is an interesting enigma to me because I know the quality of horse trainer is. I know how talented she is. She's talented enough to be higher than this. I'm worried with her only having one bullet, she's going to overdo it. I'm also worried that she used up what she had in the first two goes to make it back here. That being said, these Infernos have surprised me before when I thought they were spent, and they weren't. This mare, I think she's going to be good. I don't think she's going to fire on that cylinder that she needs to. She has a level to her, and the way she turns right is incredible. She turns left really good too, don't get me wrong. And she stops, and she does all the stuff. It looks easy for her. I'm hoping she still has more in the tank, because if she does, Abby steps up farther than she will. I'm concerned that there might not be enough oomph there. And I know that's not a good way to describe it, but it's the best I've got. It's just a gut feeling of, oh, I hope there's more there. Tough pen of horses, 12th place would be nothing to sneeze at. Go prove me wrong, Nabs. I know you're good. I really do. But I'm putting a little pressure on you on that one. Up next, we'll talk about Jason Van Landingham's two. He's got Revolver 45, who I've predicted at 11th, and Ruffalish, who I've predicted at 15th. Both of these horses are excellent. There's just something about them. I feel like they lack that it factor of Sean's or Casey's this year. Casey's a good one. They do the stuff. If Jason's got them, they do it, and they do it hard and intense and well. Jason is probably going to be upset with me for not picking him higher. Channel it. Go be good. Go be great. Because, he's the guy. If you count him out, he's going to surprise you. I just don't see that special horse that he's had in the past. I see two really nice horses that anybody should be proud to have. And I'm going to eat my words when he goes out there and does way better than I expected. That being said, I have to put them in order. I have to put a prediction together. This is where I got you, Jason. You're 11th and 15th in my book. Prove me wrong. All right. This is the one that I am pulling for to win. I'm openly biased in this one's favor. This is the Spooks Gotta Whiz that Fernando Salgado is showing named Spooks Gotta Win. It's owned by the Salgado family. This horse is really cool. I might be being biased and putting him a little too high on this list in terms of objectively. I think he's that 8 to 16 type horse in his talent level. I think Fernando is 4th or 5th best showman in this group of horses. If it's clean, that's enough to win it. My question, and I hate talking about this, but it's the truth, is does the emotion get the better of Fernando? Lately, he's been so stoic and so good and so composed, is a good word for it. He's been so composed, showing at the Million, showing at Scottsdale, showing at Vegas. I think Fernando is capable of winning it on this horse. I'm pulling for him. This is the one that, like, as a fan, I want to see win. Once again, there's 3 or 4 special horses in this group that I'm going, I don't know if it's enough to get around that. Now, if the people ahead of him make mistakes, it's a very good possibility. But I'm pulling for Fernando here. I want him to win this. I don't see it happening. I want him to win it, but I do not see it happening. I see him being right here on the edge of the top 10, somewhere between 8th and 10th, between 8th and 12th, likely 10th. So, good luck. The next one with 2 in is Cade McCutcheon. I've got Shot of 100 Proof finishing around 27th. Not that I don't think this horse is good. I am not a fan of the Epic Titans, and I know that there was 2 that were pretty good this year, the one that Trevor had and this one. That being said, Cade proved me wrong, and he proved a lot of us wrong, and he and I talked about this a little bit, that he got this one in, and I didn't expect it, and he should be proud of that. He should be proud of the show job he did on this horse. I just don't think this one's enough. That being said, his other one is one of my pre-Futurity favorites, the Lost in the Trash horse. A kind of trash, out of Lost in Tinseltown. This horse is everything it could be to win it. It's lacked that it factor here at this horse show compared to the 4 that are my real favorites, maybe the 5. It doesn't have that pizzazz there. But hear me out. Cade, from gate to gate, might be on that list of most prodigal showmen ever. In that show pen, he has experience way beyond his years, and I get, yes, he's from royal pedigree. He's learned from his grandfather. He's learned from his mom. He's learned from his dad. They're all great show people. They're all great showmen and women. Cade has all of that natural ability, and it's ingrained in him innately. It's excellent. He is going to have to do everything perfectly and have somebody make a mistake to step up above them on anything that's not the Gonna Trash It. The Gonna Trash It needs to be nearly perfect, because that's how tough this is. It's one of my favorite horses in the deal. I love watching Cade show this horse. It has to be nearly perfect to get above the people above him, and he knows it. But if his focus is right, it's hard to beat Cade when he's on. Next, we're going to talk about Craig Schmershel, Mr. Consistency. Watch this one go be a 224. He's got 2. The Shineaholic horse, I don't have as much faith in. It's a nice horse, don't get me wrong. They're all nice horses at this point. I have him finishing about 26th on that one. And watch, Craig will prove me wrong and go be 6th on it. But I have Magnum with Attitude, the Magnum out of Done It with Attitude, in 7th. And this one could win the whole thing. If Craig is flawless and the 3 or 4 horses I have at the very top make mistakes, Craig's winning this thing. Because Craig will be a 224. He'll be a 74.5, 75 all day long. He is that consistent. That horse is that good. But like I said, Cade's lost in the trash horse. There's something just missing for that it factor for me. Watching it, I don't see it yet. That being said, Craig has not shown everything this horse is capable of yet. This horse was second in Vegas for a reason. I think it darn sure could win this deal, but I just think some of the other horses have a little higher ceiling, and with the showmen that are mounted on them, there is something that's going to be beating them about that. So that's my take on Craig's. Not cheering against him, not cheering for him particularly because I'm super cheering for Fernando. Craig's a guy you cannot ever count out. And next, I'm going to talk about probably the most upside in a horse that we haven't seen put together everything yet and still be great, and that's the assassin, Danny Tremblay. Danny's never won the Futurity yet. This horse reminds me a lot of Crush with his presence, and everybody's got to run out of the gate. He's a big, pretty, strong horse who does everything dynamically. I'd always seen flashes in this horse, and what I talked about previously with Craig and Cade and that lack of that it factor, this horse has it in spades. He's trained, he's broke, it's not that. But that horse, the reason he's fifth versus the four that are ahead of him is this horse doesn't seem to have the mental maturity that the four that I think are the four best horses in this deal have. That being said, if he puts it together and does not make mistakes with his talent upside, Danny could very well win his first Futurity today, or Saturday. I am not underestimating Danny's ability as a trainer, Danny's showmanship, or this horse's talent. My only question is this horse's maturity level. If this horse shows off being his maturity level and that he has grown up that much this recently, we're looking at a first-time winner. And it would be awesome to watch Danny win. I think it would be great. This horse is everything it could be to win the Futurity, and I hope it is. Next is the guy with, I think, the deepest field of horses. His weakest horse is the best of the guys who have three in it, and that's Dwayne Latimer. Dwayne has the Top Sail Wiz. He's a Rockstar Wiz, who I think is going to be 13th. He has the Gunner Special Night out of Judy's Little Moody, who I think is going to be 8th. And he has the Whiskey and Diamonds out of Face the Attitude, who I have predicted at 4th. And any one of these horses is good enough to be in that top 4 spot. The Whiskey is something special. And I like the Gunner Special Night actually a lot. I just don't know if it's at the top end that the Whiskey does, but it seems to be more consistent. That being said, even the Wiz could jump up and surprise you. Dwayne has the strongest set of horses he's had in years. They are probably the most well-trained horses here, which is saying something with the group that this is. They look incredibly broke. They look right. Everything is on game. I want to see, I'm going to slightly insult some of my viewers here, but I hope the old man turns it on. Dwayne's a master for a reason. Dwayne might be one of the most underappreciated high-end talents that we've ever had in the industry. Those who know. Those who watch the money and stuff don't always pay attention, and Dwayne Latimer should be considered one of the all-time greats, and darn sure should eventually end up in the Hall of Fame. I would love to see him pull off his second Futurity win, and he's on a whiz, which makes him a threat. Even though I think that's my least favorite of the three, I think Dwayne's whole set is great, and this could be an amazing year for him. So, let's go. I've got him in 4th, 8th, and 13th, but it could be anywhere. He could be anywhere in the whole table because he's that good with his talent and with his horse level. Up next is NRHA's #1 all-time rider, Andrea Fappani. I'm going to talk about 3 horses for Andrea. 2 of them I think are threats to win it, and the one I didn't think would even be in the finals. Andrea had to prove me wrong, because that's what I get for not following my own rule, which is never bet against Andrea, and I'm doing it again. I've got his Vantage finishing 29th. I got it finishing near the bottom of this pile. It's a good horse. It really is. It stops cool. Everything in this pen stops cool. 4 turns cool. And some of them do both. And some of them circle cool too. I just don't think that horse has enough for this level. His other 2, on the other hand, Gonna Run Slide, they're gonna trash you. The full and Out of Stop Little Sister, the full sibling to Gonna Stop, and the Mic Drop, the Spook Scout Wiz, who is the biggest Spook Scout Wiz I think I've ever seen at this age. I think they both are contenders to win the whole thing. Gonna Run and Slide has not wowed me at this Futurity. That horse is one of my pre-Futurity picks because I loved him in Vegas. I thought he was the coolest thing I had ever seen in Vegas. Mind you, I hadn't watched Sean's yet. I hadn't watched Casey's yet, although we'll get to that in a second. This black horse, the Gonna Trash It, Gonna Run and Slide, I think should be better than he has shown at this horse show. And I don't know what's going on there. But when I'm saying that I'm disappointed in one that I have finishing 6th, that tells you what I expected of this horse. I think he's phenomenal. Once again, I'm saying this from a visual standpoint. I've never thrown a leg over the thing. I think that horse is so cool, and I think he should be a threat to win the thing. Now, mic drop, the Spook Soda Whiz. He has all the traits of the Spook Soda Whizzes, of the good ones. He turns big, he stops big. And the thing I didn't take into account in my predictions is his mental maturity has arrived so much better than the other two. I'm finishing 3rd, wouldn't be surprised. This one's the one he could finish anywhere from 1st to 10th, and it wouldn't surprise me. But he's so mentally mature. I think he stays with Andrea better than the other two at this horse show, and watching them here in person live. I think this is the one of his, which means I was wrong, which I hate admitting because I like being right. So Andrea's got 2 that I think are threats. The 3rd one, it's Andrea. You can't count him out, but I don't expect much from that one. I don't know how to close up talking about this one because it's Andrea. It's 2 really good horses. He's on the horse. I mean, you put him on it. You put him on the worst horse in the field, and he's going to make a run at you because that's just who he is. So that's what I'm predicting is 3rd, 6th, 29th. And now we're going to talk about Casey Deary. I have him finishing 2nd on one. I have him finishing 31st on the other. The Inlake Flynn, Time in a Bottle, I think was fortunate to make the finals. Don't get me wrong, it's a good horse. It's very cool. When I watched the semifinals run, I thought Casey was fortunate to make it back. He barely made it back on this one. I think he was in by a spot. I think he was in by a point, which is good, but I don't think this one has the top end that the other one has. Now, the Palomino horse, the Magnum, that Devin Warren owned and trained, and Casey got at Tulsa, I think this horse is the real deal. He's everything he needs to be. The biggest question I'm going to have is how does he feel coming into the finals? Because he's made 2 big runs in a row. He made a big run at Southwest. Casey is an incredible showman, and he can turn it on when the lights are on. This horse has proven so far that he can do the same. I've known Devin since I was a kid. I worked for a guy in Colorado and knew Devin then. Devin Warren is the type of person I would love to see him get an owner's check at the Futurity. And I think this horse is the biggest threat outside of the one that I'm picking to win it now. This horse can turn, it can stop, it can do everything it needs to do, and it's got Casey style, and the judges right now are in love with Casey style. Good, bad, or different. They are in love with Casey style. Casey Deary has proven time and time again, you give him a horse that fits him, and he's hard to beat. He has a horse that fits him, he's going to be hard to beat. He surprised me last year by pulling it off with 10:30. I thought that horse came apart after the first round. He proved me wrong and came back and kicked their ass in the finals. Can he do the same here? I don't think this one's come apart. I think this one's actually really cool. So maybe it's when I put less expectation on Casey he wins. But I think he's going to be 2nd. I hope I'm right because I like being right more than I care about Casey because I don't know him that well. That being said, this horse is awesome. Casey's a great showman. I mean, he's in the modern times, he's one of the 3 best showmen in the industry, and he's working on a legacy to make an argument that he's one of the best ever. I'm running out of things to say, and I'm rambling, so I'm going to cut it off here, but I got Casey in the Magnum 2nd. The Inlake Flynn I have 31st, and I'm probably going to be wrong on the Inlake Flynn too. So watch Casey go win on the one I'm not predicting. And now the one that everybody's betting on. Everybody thinks is going to win it. Andy Mo, Sean Flaherty. I'm going to trash it. I don't want his little chick. Owned by our Chaseys. This thing should win the Futurity. it was destined. It's bred to win the Futurity. Sean's going to break his tie with Loomis. He might even take over Andrea as the #1 all-time rider if he wins the Futurity and Andrea finishes low enough. Plus, he's got the primetime level, so that's a possibility. This is the most foregone conclusion in Futurity history, right? Possibly. Any most circles and turns as good as anything on the property. Those 4 maneuvers put it at a 74, maybe a 74.5 without stopping. How does everybody compete with that? There's one hole that's open, and everybody has to maximize to get through it, and has to hope Sean makes a mistake. This horse stops in a style that I am not a big fan of, and it will give the ground if it catches bad ground. It sits on top of the ground when it stops. That being said, the times it holds the ground, it goes forever. And then all of a sudden, now you're looking at a horse that just +1, it stops too, and it's likely going to be a 26 or a 76, which means it's going to be a 228. In fact, that's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting she's going to mark a 229.5. Sean's going to win the Futurity, and it's going to be just like we're in the middle of the 2000s again, and Sean's back on a roll. He's got the best hands in the business in terms of riding one, and if he gets that mare stopped the way at her max level, there's nobody in the there's not a horse that can touch him. If he leaves the door open, he's still the odds-on favorite. That's how good this mare is, and I didn't want to believe the hype. I believe the hype. It's that good. Sean is amazing as a showman. We all know that. This mare's bred to be great. We all knew that. It's one thing to have expectations. It's another thing to live up to them. So far, this mare's living up to them. So, let's see. Well, there's my finals predictions, my analysis, my everything else. I'm sure I've sufficiently pissed off a few people, but when you're predicting, you got to put yourself out there and make the order, and I think I'm not spot on, but I've at least got them in the right area of where I think they're going to end up. So, I want everybody here to engage, comments, likes, shares, everything helps, and I appreciate it all. Let's go have some fun on finals night. Thanks, everybody.